I want you to just pause for a second and really look around the room you're sitting in right now. Like, actually look at it.
Yeah, let your eyes really land on it.
Right. Let them land on that, that pile on the dining table. Or maybe it's that corner of the bedroom you've just been completely ignoring.
Oh, we all have that corner.
We do. Or that one closet door that you literally have to lean your whole shoulder against just to hear it click shut.
Right.
I want to tell you a little secret about all that clutter. It's most of it isn't garbage.
Sure.
And it's definitely not there because you're lazy.
Not at all.
It's an apology. It is this heavy physical monument to the person you thought you'd be by now, The like fluent French speaker.
Yes.
The person who effortlessly camps. The artisanal bread baker. But before we go any deeper into this, we need to perform a little security verification.
Oh.
Yeah. I need to make absolutely sure you aren't a malicious bot running on autopilot.
I love that. So taking a breath right now.
Exactly. Breathing, feeling the weight of the air. Okay. Verification is successful. You are real. You are breathing. And welcome to this very special deep dive.
It is so incredibly good to be here with you because, we are getting into something so deeply intimate today.
We really are.
The things we surround ourselves with, they're essentially this naked physical manifestation of our inner lives. And, when your space is suffocating you, it usually means your inner life is just completely gridlocked.
Gridlocked. Wow. That is like the perfect word for it.
Yeah.
Because we are working from two fiercely intelligent, incredibly revealing documents today. One is this framework called Pickaxe Mountain, Rescue Operations Doctrine. And the other is an essay called The Architecture of Domestic Triage. And I want to set the tone for you right now.
Please do.
This is not about, folding your T-shirts into perfect little squares so your drawers look like some sterile boutique. This is about coaxing you into a state of total liberated circulation.
Yes, that flow.
Exactly. We are going to strip away these heavy, suffocating layers of excess inventory that have just been clinging to you. We're going to get your home breathing again.
In the doctrine, they literally call this accumulation your mountain.
Your mountain.
Yeah. It's this immense looming accumulation of things, of postponed decisions, of, stalled desires. But just by confronting the raw reality of it today with us, that mountain is going to start eroding.
God, I can feel the relief already.
Right. Our mission tonight is to help you drop that summit elevation by 40 meters for every single bag that leaves your house.
Oh, wow.
I want you to literally feel the weight of that on your skin. Imagine 40 meters of atmospheric pressure just lifted off your chest, carried out the front door, and gone forever.
I can literally feel my shoulders dropping. 40 meters a bag. So here is how we are going to navigate this intimate little journey together. Instead of just reading you a sterile list of rules, we are going to walk you through the actual emotional climax of clearing out your space. We're going to diagnose the true naked nature of your physical baggage, like why it's really there in the dark with you.
Right.
We're going to establish some extremely firm, protective boundaries around your energy. And finally, we're going to guide you through the breathless release of what our sources call the exit system.
And we are going to move right past that surface level guilt.
Oh, thank goodness.
Because for so long, people who struggle with this kind of blockage, they tell themselves it's a moral failing.
Yeah, like a lack of discipline.
Exactly. You whisper to yourself, oh, if I just had more willpower, my house would be perfect. But the doctrine tells us something entirely different.
What does it say?
It says your blocked space is deeply, intimately tied to your desires, your intelligence, your imagination.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because I want to break down the core equation of this mountain you've built.
That's it.
It's not just a pile of stuff. The text defines your clutter as a stacked failure, which I know sounds super intense.
It does.
But it's actually profoundly liberating once you understand it. It is a tangled web of 5 very distinct things.
Okay, what are they?
It's excess inventory, unfinished projects, decision debt, broken outflow logistics, and ambiguous ownership. It's all those things sleeping in the exact same bed.
Sleeping in the exact same bed. Wow. Let's look at the psychology of that.
Please.
When you pick up an object, say, a beautiful pasta maker you used exactly once in 2019.
Oh, I feel seen.
Right. You aren't just deciding where to put it. You are simultaneously confronting the fact that you own too much kitchen gear. That's excess inventory.
Right.
You're confronting that you never mastered Italian cooking. That's an unfinished project.
Oh, yes.
That you don't know if you should keep it or donate it. That's decision debt.
Okay, what about the broken outflow?
Well, even if you wanted to donate it, you haven't actually been to the thrift store in 6 months.
Oh, broken outflow.
Yeah, exactly. And finally, technically, your mother-in-law gave it to you, so you aren't even sure if you're allowed to get rid of it.
Ambiguous ownership.
Yes. So faced with those 5 simultaneous failures, your brain just completely short-circuits.
That just shuts down.
You set the heavy pasta maker back down on the counter and you just walk away. That is decision debt in action. It's exhausting.
It really is. But out of all of those, the one that hit me the hardest in the text, like the concept that is both deeply romantic and wildly dangerous, is this idea of optionality made physical.
What's fascinating here is how the text analyzes optionality made physical.
Right.
It's this understanding that you are not holding on to things because you are crazy or irrational. You are holding on to them because you are beautifully, wildly imaginative.
You're dreaming.
Yes. You are minting plausible futures and possible selves way faster than your square footage can possibly absorb them. You are literally dreaming in objects.
Oh, God, yes. It's the size 4 jeans from college. It's the incredibly expensive watercolors you bought during a phase when you thought, I'm going to be the kind of sultry woman who paints in the park on Sundays. But doesn't it feel almost tragic to let those things go? Like, isn't it romantic to hold on to these future versions of yourself?
It feels romantic, yes.
It's like keeping a little black book of past lovers, But they're future lovers, future versions of you.
It is fiercely romantic to want to keep every single door open. But, and I say this gently, it is also a trap.
A trap.
Yes, because every single one of those possible futures has been living rent-free in your physical space.
Oh.
They are lounging on your counters. They are taking up premium, intimate real estate in your bedroom closets. And rent is now due.
Rent is due. Wow.
The currency they are draining from you is space and calendar time and cognitive bandwidth. Your current living, breathing, naked self is being suffocated by the sheer volume of ghosts you have invited into your bed.
Okay, that gave me chills.
The fantasy of the watercolor painter is beautiful, but the physical reality is that you can't find your car keys in the morning because the paint tubes are covering the entryway table.
Rent is due. Paid in space and calendar. That is the reality check I think we all really, really needed.
Absolutely.
So it's time to evict the fantasies that just refuse to sign the lease. And to execute that eviction, the doctrine introduces a tool it calls the Pickaxe Console.
Yes!
The console. Now, when I first read that, I pictured some complicated, sexy software dashboard, right?
Like a high-tech control room.
Exactly. But let's demystify it for the listener because it's actually stunningly analog. It's so simple.
Completely analog. When the text says Pickaxe Console, it literally just means a mental framework. Usually you just track it on a simple piece of paper or a basic notepad.
You aren't building a spreadsheet.
No. You just need 3 columns, doctrine, session, and log. The sheer allure of this console is that it doesn't ask you to feel, it only asks you to act.
I love that. Action over emotion.
It tracks your timer. It counts how many bags actually leave. It lights 72-hour fuses for your donations. And it holds a strict 60-day quarantine ledger for the things you just can't decide on. That is all it does.
And what I love so much about this is the total rejection of taxonomy. The text explicitly states, no empire building allowed.
No empire building. I love that rule.
Right. You are not allowed to go buy a label maker and start color-coding your heavy baggage.
Yeah.
You don't need to categorize the overwhelming mess. You just need to let it drop.
Just drop it.
Making a complex organizational system for things you shouldn't even own is just reorganizing your own paralysis.
Exactly. Which brings us right into the physical remedy.
Let's get physical.
Now that you understand why you were trapped by these fantasies, we have to shift our focus to raw movement. The psychological realization was just foreplay. Now we get our hands dirty.
Oh, I'm ready.
We have to prioritize raw, unapologetic flow over the illusion of perfection.
Yes. I want you to completely abandon the Pinterest fantasy of minimalism for right now.
Let's let it go.
Forget the stark, empty, white-walled aesthetic.
Yeah.
That is a luxury for much, much later. Your immediate target, your absolute singular craving right now should be pure flowing circulation.
Circulation before elegance. The doctrine is adamant about this. Think about the word triage.
All right.
In a medical emergency, you don't worry about cosmetic surgery, right? You worry about the airway. You worry about the heartbeat.
Right, you need them breathing.
Exactly. The text gives us non-negotiable priority targets to restore the heartbeat of your home. First, Clear your blocked exits and walking paths.
Exits and paths.
You must be able to move your physical body through your home without friction, without turning sideways, without stepping over heavy boxes.
Because that friction is just this constant micro-stressor.
Right.
Every single time you have to step over a pile of shoes, your brain secretly registers it as a failure.
Precisely. It drains you. Second priority, restore the kitchen sink plus one uninterrupted prep runway.
Just one way.
Just one long, smooth surface to prepare a meal. Third, restore one eating or work surface. And finally, keep the bathroom and the bed completely operational. You have to be able to sleep, bathe, eat, and move safely.
So it's like you're a paramedic rushing into a crisis. You are not a museum curator cataloging the delicate strata of your past. You are just trying to get the blood flowing through the veins of the house again.
That's exactly it.
If the dining room table is covered in mail, but you can still sleep in your bed and make coffee in the morning, you focus on the prep counter before you even look at the mail. Triage, not archaeology.
And to perform this triage without getting completely overwhelmed, we use the microzone loop. This is the intimate engine of the entire rescue operation.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Because when you look at an entire room, your brain just floods with cortisol. So we shrink your world down.
We are going to draw a tiny, perfect boundary around you. We're talking about one single drawer, one shelf, one 30-inch segment of your kitchen counter, just 4 square feet of floor space.
That's it.
That is your entire universe for the duration of the session.
And within that tiny, intimate universe, I am going to strictly but soothingly enforce the golden rule.
Give it to me.
It will save you from that familiar weekend despair. The rule is, never pull out more than you can completely close within the session.
Never pull out more than you can close.
You do not drag everything out of the closet and pile it onto the middle of the room. You do not dump the entire contents of your desk onto the bed you have to sleep in tonight.
Oh, because we have all done that, haven't we?
Oh, yeah.
The Friday night burst of motivation where you empty the entire wardrobe onto the mattress, and by like 11:00 p.m. you are exhausted, crying, and sleeping on the couch because your bed is covered in heavy sweaters.
It's the worst feeling. The microzone prevents that trauma. So let's say you've picked your microzone, like the junk drawer in the kitchen. We are going to walk you through the 5-step dance of clearing it with real rhythmic pacing.
Okay, step 1.
Step 1 is the easiest. Trash, the broken, the expired. But there's a crucial caveat here. Absolutely no side quests.
None. You do not test the old electronics to see if they hold a charge.
No testing.
You do not take a piece of scrap paper and essentially test every single pen to see if the ink is dry. You do not stop to read the old receipts. You recognize it's garbage, you touch it once, and it goes in the black bag. Side quests are how you lose an hour to a single AA battery.
Yes. Step 2. Existing homes. If you pull an object out of that drawer and you know it already has a dedicated place where it belongs in another room, walk it there now.
Wait, right now.
Right now. Do not put it in a return pile to take upstairs later.
See, I used to be the queen of the stair pile.
The stair pile?
I'd neatly stack things on the bottom step, telling myself, oh, I'd take them up next time I went. But the stairs just became a new shelf. Why does the doctrine insist we walk it there immediately? Doesn't that break our focus?
It actually reinforces the dopamine loop of completion.
Oh, interesting.
Taking it to its home immediately closes the loop on that object. Creating a return pile is just relocating your decision debt. You are taking clutter from the drawer and turning it into clutter on the stairs. We want finality. Walk it to its home. Feel the deep satisfaction of putting it away and walk back to the drawer.
That makes so much sense. Okay, step 3. Donations. These go straight into a bag or a box immediately. And let me just whisper this. The bag is a one-way street.
A one-way street.
Once the item drops in, the mouth of the bag closes. No fishing things back out because you suddenly fantasized about a scenario where you might need a third garlic press.
Exactly. Step 4 is where we get into the deeply satisfying physical mechanics of your space. This step addresses your duplicates and your capacity limits.
Right.
The doctrine states ruthlessly that only your absolute favorites earn the right to remain in the container space.
Because, I mean, we've all done the thing where we jam a spatula into a drawer and have to wiggle it back and forth just to get the drawer to shut. The wood is groaning, things are scraping.
The doctrine calls that technically fitting under hydraulic pressure.
Hydraulic pressure, yes.
And it explicitly states that if a drawer requires hydraulic force to close, it is overcapacity. It doesn't matter if you can mathematically fit 50 t-shirts into a drawer by origami folding them.
Right.
The container must remain effortlessly usable. It should glide open. It should invite your touch, not resist it. If you have to fit your space is broken.
Ease. We're designing for ease, not maximum density. Which brings us to step 5. You've thrown away the trash, relocated the wanderers, bagged the donations, and kept only your favorites that fit with ease. But you have 3 items left on the counter. The things that make you hesitate, the genuine uncertainties. What do we do with those?
For these, we introduce the single shoebox-sized quarantine box.
Does the shoebox?
It is intentionally constrained. You put the uncertain items inside, you seal it, and you write a date on it, exactly 60 days from today. But here's the critical psychological shift. The default verdict of the quarantine box is disposal.
Wait, really? The default is throwing it away?
Yes. Quarantine merely defers the cost of the decision. It does not defer the decision itself. You are assuming the item is gone. If, within those 60 days, you genuinely need the item, you can go into the box and retrieve it. But if that box remains unopened when the deadline arrives, it leaves your house unopened.
Wow. You just let the mystery walk out the door.
You don't even peek.
That is terrifying, but also kind of thrilling. If you open it to check, you re-trigger the exact same decision dead that paralyzed you in the first place.
Exactly.
You just take the sealed box and let it go.
So you've gathered the excess in this intimate microzone. You've made the decisions, but the act isn't complete yet. The tension is built up in the room, but we haven't reached the climax of the release.
The climax.
The release only happens in what the doctrine calls the exit system. This raises an important question. What good is a decision if the object stays in the house?
None. A decision isn't actually a decision until the object crosses your property line. Until the donation bag physically leaves your house, it is just an intention. And intentions take up floor space.
It's a massive pitfall. People will spend 4 hours decluttering a room, creating 5 beautiful bags of donations, and then leave those bags by the front door for 3 months.
Yes.
You haven't reclaimed your space. You've just repackaged your clutter into black plastic.
This is where we light the fuse. The 72-hour fuse for donations. Once a bag is full, you have an exciting, thrilling rush of 72 hours to get it off your property. And the doctrine uses this incredible metaphor that I'm obsessed with. It describes the trunk of your car as an airlock.
It's a perfect mechanism. You take the bags, you place them in the trunk, and the trunk clicks shut. The items are no longer in your house, so you can't second-guess them, but they haven't reached the world yet. They are in the airlock.
The airlock.
And the absolute ironclad rule is the very next time you drive that car, for any reason, whether it's commuting to work, getting coffee, whatever, that drive must include dropping those bags off. The airlock must be flushed before normal life resumes.
Okay, I love the airlock. But I have to push back here for a second on behalf of everyone listening who just heard us talk about throwing things away or dropping them at a thrift store.
Okay, push back.
What about selling things? If I have a pile of vintage band tees or, clothes I bought and never took the tags off, I know I could get $400 for that pile on Poshmark.
Right.
You're telling me to just give that money away?
Yeah.
That feels financially irresponsible. Isn't it satisfying to make a little cash back? It feels like throwing cash in the trash.
I hear you. This is the most common resistance, and the doctrine anticipates it perfectly. Let's look at the math of selling. We often fall into the trap of looking at the retail value of an item rather than the friction cost of selling it.
Okay.
The rule is this. Selling is only permitted for individual items that will net you $100 or more in profit.
$100? Wait, that wipes out like 90% of what people try to sell online.
Yes.
Why is the threshold so high?
Because you have to factor in your hourly wage. Think about the life cycle of selling a $20 shirt online. You have to wash it. You have to iron it, stage a sultry little photo, take 5 pictures, write a description, measure the inseam, answer questions from buyers, asking if you'll take $10 instead of $20.
It's exhausting.
You have to find a box, print a label, and drive to the post office. You just spent 2 hours of your precious life to make $15 after shipping and platform fees. You are working for below minimum wage, and in the meantime, that shirt is still sitting on your dining room table, blocking your circulation.
Wow. When you put it like that, I mean, I'm basically running a terribly unprofitable warehouse out of my bedroom.
Exactly. The text brilliantly calls this luxury-grade clutter with a spreadsheet.
Luxury-grade clutter.
You dress it up, you take nice photos of it, you track it on an app, but it is still just heavy clutter weighing you down. And if you do have an item worth over $100, the timeline is still unyielding.
What's the timeline?
You must list it within 48 hours of identifying it. You cut the price once at day 14 to force a sale, and if it hasn't sold by day 30, you can sign it or donate it. And you are absolutely capped at 3 active listings at any given time.
Only 3?
Yes. Anything past that cap is just you being in the retail business, and that is a completely different show.
Luxury grade clutter. That stings in the absolute best way. Okay, so if we aren't selling it and we aren't keeping it in the house, let's drop our voices for a second and talk about the dirtiest habit of all.
Oh, yes.
The thing we do when we are too guilty to throw it away but too annoyed to look at it every day. Geographic laundering.
Geographic laundering, the great shuffle, moving items to another basement, renting a storage unit, or packing boxes into your parents' garage.
Right, because it feels like progress. Because the room looks cleaner. But it is absolutely not decluttering. It is just shifting the heavy burden from one hip to the other. You are laundering your guilt through distance. It requires teeth to fix this.
Real teeth. The doctrine states that nothing, absolutely nothing, changes buildings without meeting 3 strict criteria. It needs a named project, a bounded physical allocation, and a hard retrieval date.
Okay, give me an example of that in real life.
Yeah.
Let's say I want to put my camping gear in my mom's basement because I live in a tiny, sexy little apartment.
If you just throw it in a bin and say, Mom, can you hold this?
Yeah.
That is laundering.
Right.
To pass the test, it needs a named project, annual Cerner camping trip. It needs a bounded allocation, exactly 1 green plastic tub, and it cannot overflow, and it needs a hard retrieval date. I will pick this up on June 15th.
Wow.
If you cannot give an object those 3 things, it doesn't get laundered into a storage unit, it gets released into the world.
That is such a deeply protective boundary. And speaking of boundaries, now that we have the physical space beginning to flow, now that the air is moving through the microzones, we have to talk about mental and relational boundaries.
Yes, the portfolio.
How do we manage those ongoing burning desires, the hobbies, the projects, and how on earth do we handle the baggage that belongs to the people we share a bed with?
Let's start with your own desires. We need to discipline what the text calls your fantasy inventory. We call this portfolio governance for physical projects.
Okay, so if I want to keep my half-finished knitting projects or, the parts for the motorcycle I'm going to rebuild someday, what are the strict rules?
If a project is going to be allowed to remain active in your primary living space, it must meet rigorous criteria. It must have a specific name. It must have an owner, meaning you are claiming it.
Right.
It must fit perfectly into one clearly defined container, shelf, or bay. It needs a concrete, identified next action. Not just work on it, but buy blue yarn for the border. And crucially, you must have time locked on your calendar to work on it within the next 30 days.
And if it doesn't meet those criteria, what if it's just something I genuinely desire to do, but I know I'm not going to touch this month because I'm slammed?
Then it is a dormant project. And dormant projects are fine, but they do not get to live in your daily circulation space. Dormant projects get 1 bounded archive container, and they get a review date written on the outside. But listen closely to this distinction.
I'm listening.
If an object has no next action, no calendar commitment, and no space budget, it is pure fantasy inventory. You are holding on to the prop of a play you are never going to stage. It must be routed to the exit.
You don't have to kill every possible self. You can still dream. But the versions of you that refuse to commit to a date on the calendar, the ones that won't sign the lease, they were never going to move in anyway.
Exactly.
You were just holding the front door open for a ghost and letting all the cold air in. Just close the door.
Beautifully said. Now, so what does this all mean when those ghosts belong to someone else, when you are tangled up with a partner, a roommate, or children?
The ultimate question, is this mine to decide? Because, when you get on a decluttering high, the momentum is so intoxicating.
It really is.
You look at your partner's pile of old magazines or their weird, ugly collection of cables, and you think, I'm just going to toss this, they won't even notice.
And this is where we must tread with extreme caution. The doctrine is explicit. You cannot unilaterally discard other people's property. Doing so turns a simple decluttering session into a relational incident, or a legal one.
I have to admit, I've seen people online brag about the packing party method. Have you seen this?
Oh, yes.
Where they take all their partner's stuff, box it up without telling them, and say, if you don't ask for it in a month, I'm throwing it away. It's framed as tough love.
The doctrine correctly convicts that method as domestic terrorism.
Domestic terrorism.
It is a massive violation of intimacy. You are not their parole officer, you are their partner. Instead, the framework offers a respectful solution: the owner review container.
Okay, how does that work?
You take their items that are bleeding into the shared space, you place them in a defined, bounded container, and you give them a firm date. Hey, I gathered your loose cables into this basket. I need the counter clear by Friday. Can you sort through this by then?
Huh.
You contain their excess to protect your circulation, but you do not sentence their belongings.
That shifts the energy from aggressive to, like, deeply cooperative.
Yeah.
But wait, is there an ultimate override? Like a safe word for this whole process where you absolutely shouldn't throw something away, even if it's ugly or takes up space?
Yes, the critical override. Before anything leaves the house, you must quickly ask,
Right.
is this item legally, medically, seasonally, or safety critical?
Right.
Your tax records, your emergency earthquake gear, prescription medications, these things stay. They might be dormant for 364 days a year, but criticality overrides every other threshold.
And for everything else, the everyday non-critical things, we use what the text calls the fungible threshold. This is the ultimate quick release rule.
It is a lifesaver when you are agonizing over a $10 item. The rule is based on replacement cost and time.
Give us the parameters.
$50 and 30 minutes. If an object is causing you friction, taking up space, and you aren't sure if you need it, ask yourself, if I mistakenly throw this away and find out next year that I actually need it, would it cost less than $50 and take under 30 minutes to replace? If the answer is yes, let it go.
Because the cognitive friction of keeping that extra cable, shoving it in a drawer, navigating around it for 3 years, feeling a tiny spike of annoyance every time you touch it, that friction costs you way more in biological energy than $15.
Exactly.
Exempting things that are custom, rare, or critical, just release it. The friction of keeping it is worse than the cost of replacing it.
We are bringing it all together now. We have the diagnosis, the mindset, and the boundaries. Now we get to the intimate dance of the execution. We are going to give you the final, strict parameters for your immediate next steps. We want to set you up for a breathless, highly effective, timed encounter with your space.
But before we can start the timer, we have to talk about closing the inflow valve. Because you can bail water out of a sinking boat all day, but if you don't plug the hole, you are still going to drown.
People love to talk about the one-in, one-out rule. You buy a new shirt, you donate an old shirt. But the text exposes that rule as a comforting lie.
A lie.
All one-in, one-out does is preserve your current, swollen, suffocating equilibrium. Until a specific category of items actually fits comfortably into its container, the rule is strict abstinence.
No new units. None. If your bookshelf is overflowing, you do not buy a new book and donate one. You go on a total book-buying ban until the books fit on the shelf with room to spare.
And if you absolutely fail at abstinence, then the penalty is 1 in, 2 out. But the ultimate goal is a hard stop on the inflow while we manage the triage.
Abstinence creates space. Now let's talk about the partner in this physical dance, because sometimes doing this alone is too heavy. The doctrine calls for a helper, but it refers to them seductively as the body double.
The body double contract.
And the role of the body double is deeply intimate, but completely, rigidly silent.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's a brilliant piece of behavioral psychology. The body double is just the muscle. They hold the heavy bag open for you, they run the pace, they do the lifting, but they are strictly forbidden from appraising the objects.
Yes, because what happens if you pull a terrible, ugly sweater out of the closet and you're about to throw it away, and your friend goes, "Oh, but remember when you wore this to that party? It's kind of cute."
The moment they do that, they step out of the role of the supportive body double and they become opposing counsel.
Opposing counsel.
Court is immediately adjourned. The magic is broken because now you have to defend your decision to let it go. The bag does not own you. The helper must be like the bag. They do not reminisce. They do not offer alternative storage ideas. They just quietly facilitate your release.
It's just you making the rapid-fire decisions and the bag swallowing the excess. And this entire session, it is not an all-day affair. The doctrine imposes a strict time limit, a 35-minute cap.
This isn't arbitrary. The 35-minute mark is exactly when your brain begins to experience deep decision fatigue. Have you ever noticed that in the first 20 minutes of cleaning, you are ruthless, but by hour 3, you are staring at a dried-out marker, wondering if you should keep it just in case?
Yes, you start hoarding garbage because you are too tired to make the decision to throw it away.
That is decision fatigue. So the session is capped. 25 minutes of intense, focused, sweaty clearing, followed immediately by 10 minutes of deeply satisfying, soothing closing.
And that 35-minute limit is a cap per session, not per day. No heroic excavations allowed, no 6-hour marathons where you tear apart the entire house.
Heroism is how the never worse rule dies.
Explain the never worse rule, because I think it's the most comforting rule in the text.
The never worse rule states that at the end of any session, your space must never be in a worse, more chaotic state than when you started. Every single session must leave the zone functional.
So here is your prescription, your exact next move for when this deep dive ends in a few minutes. We want you to walk into your kitchen and find a 30-inch stretch of your primary prep counter. Just 30 inches.
Your objective is singular. One uninterrupted, completely wipeable runway.
And what are the exit criteria? The runway is clear, the return basket is empty, the trash is outside, the donations are in the trunk with the fuse lit.
Yeah.
And absolutely no new piles have been created anywhere else.
I want to leave you with a firm reminder of the only metric that matters. We do not measure your success by the hours you suffered. The governing metric is this: functional territory reclaimed and volume that has actually physically left. Territory and tonnage, everything else is just commentary.
But I have to offer one final warning. Avoid the temptations. Do not tackle whole house categories right now. Do not dig into the deeply sentimental strata, and please, do not go buy new acrylic organizers. Buying pretty boxes for your excess is just embalming it.
Phase 2 only unlocks after circulation is fully restored.
Exactly. I want to leave you with one lingering provocative thought tonight. Once you strip away all those heavy layers of fantasy inventory, once the mountain has completely eroded, who is the naked, authentic self left standing in that perfectly clear, highly functional space?
It's a profound realization. When you strip away who you thought you should be, you are left with the space to discover who you actually are.
What will you do with all that reclaimed territory? We wish you a deeply satisfying deep dive into your own physical rescue operation. Drink that wine, set your timer, and let it all go. We'll see you next time.